Hello. We are doing third episode of this, picking right back up from the level we were stuck on last time. Hopefully we get past it. I didn't lower the difficulty at all, so it's gonna be the exact same as last time. So, yeah, let's go for it. I can adjust my chair. And there we go. Oh, this is already going well. This is already going very well. Alright. I don't need that room just yet. I'm just gonna go make immediate progress. I have 3 shells and a dream. I have 72 bullets. I have 122 bullets in a dream. Alright. Here. 32? Okay. Why are you so willing to walk down here? But in like the last Hell Knights that I tried to do that with, like, did not want to at all. Like you. I don't know if you were hit by those at all. That was very bad dodging on my part. We're gonna go in here, grab these bullets, because we're probably gonna need them. I really love that super armor, but I don't remember how to get that at all. No. Alright. Shit. Okay. That's fine. I wasn't going to live that anyway since I was down to 3 fucking health from that Hell Knight. Alright. This time, we're just gonna have to do better. I could take on that Lost Soul room when I get the chain gun. You living that shot probably doomed me. Alright. So we're gonna take that. We're gonna go down here, we're gonna grab the stuff from the Lost Soul room. Alright. Something to talk about. I don't really have much to talk about since I've been extremely burnt out on everything recently. I was going to record this video like 2 days ago, but I was just so tired the other 2 days that I just couldn't muster any energy to do it. That's why this is coming out. Fuck. That's why this is coming out so late. I have like so many projects that I want to do, but I just have not been able to do any of them. And it's a shame because so many of the projects I know would be fun to work on, and I have had fun working on projects like them in the past. It's just like I just can't bring myself to, like, really do anything about those projects. Because, I don't know. Life sucks sometimes. All I want to do is just make shit and have fun. But recently it's been hard to make shit, so I haven't been having much fun. Well, that's not true. These videos have been really fun to work on. Oh, God. Yeah, these videos have been really fun to work on. I'm not really burnt out on YouTube making since I don't even really do anything. I just record myself playing. These have no editing, no like audio balancing outside of me like messing with settings for the first couple episodes. So like I'm not. This doesn't require much effort at all, which feels weird to say considering like this is like what I'm doing and part of like what I would love to do is like getting more into editing and shit like that. Like honestly, part of the reason why I'm able to stick with it right now, and despite like those burnout, is because no editing is going into me. Because like I'm just playing a video game, but I'm also recording myself playing it. That's all I'm doing, and that's making me feel way better than if I was just. Then honestly, if I was just playing these, or if I was like working, if I was like coding something or 3D modeling something. I need to get back into 3D modeling. Ever since one of my projects that I'm actually no, I'm not gonna keep it secret. I don't even know if I'm gonna work on it anymore since again demotivation and all that. One of my game projects, a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game called Studio Rot. It doesn't have a page yet because it was still in the concepting and character design phase of the project for the longest time. Oh, fuck. I was stuck in the character design process for the longest time because I haven't really, but like an idiot, I didn't really draw much of the designs down that I wanted beforehand. I was just kind of winging it, which is usually the way I do things, but with this specific project, so many of the things that I wanted to do in my head, I couldn't really think about how to put them to 3D modeling, even with direct reference, because I'm just, quite honestly, this is something that I talked about with my friend Recall, who's probably going to watch this video, and probably love that name drop, but this is something I talked about with them, that I'm just not that good at 3D modeling. Like, I can make decent looking models, and part of the reason why a lot of my models, like in the moment, I think are really good, and like a lot of people think they're really good, is not really pertaining to my direct skill as a 3D modeler, but rather to my skill as just a character designer. Because that's one thing that I'm very good at. I am very good at designing characters. It is just very hard to like put shit like that into practice. Especially with 3D modeling, with how complicated that can be. How complicated that can be, the more complicated your design gets. Like you're not drawing like a belt and like putting like the little details in like dot by dot. That's easy. No, here you have to physically cut out and 3D model all the little dots in the belt how the belt's actually going to work for it to even look right. Like, you are putting so much more care into like your shapes than you would with like drawing, because in drawing you can simplify whatever's not big enough in frame, like have all the to really need all the detail. Oh baby, I'm dead. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So like that's been really burning me out. Is just like I'm just, and even though all I need is just more practice and not so much like character modeling, but just more like getting better at reading and putting down shapes. I just not getting the results I want, like as like weird as it sounds, not getting the shapes I want and like the designs I want directly put to the 3D model has been really really demotivating, and it's honestly the only reason why I ever really get burnt out on 3D modeling in the first place. Is just purely just me just getting overwhelmed with what I want to do rather than what I can do. And yeah, art's fucking tough, and no one really tells you that or really gives like a good reason as to why. It's And even if they do, it's not even really going to connect to your experience unless you're doing the exact same person as someone that's giving you like those tips of coming over like art block and shit like that. Because everybody gets art block for completely different reasons. Because like for me, it's just demotivation over my own lack of skill. But for other people, it can just be like, I just don't find this that interesting anymore, or like just art block can be connected to something completely differently. Like you're just going through a depressive episode at the moment, and it's very hard for you to even decide to get out of bed, let alone trying to lift up, even trying to put pen to paper. That's something that has been being talked about more in like a lot of general spaces. But even with a lot of that discussion going around about art block, depression, and like general mental illnesses that's been increasing lately, I feel like there should still be more serious talk about like how that really like feels to some people. And oh, fuck shotgunners. Okay, yeah, how to like really like recover from shit like that. Honestly, if one thing's going to get me out of art block, it's probably going to be these YouTube videos as I steadily increase the amount of work that I want to do for these. And like start like drawing my own start like drawing and 3D modeling my own thumbnails, start doing video editing. Like as I introduce like those concepts to me slowly as I go throughout. Maybe not this series, but the next couple like YouTube video series that I do. It I know it's going to help me get out of art block, especially because lot of my art block is a lot of the times that I get myself out of art block is just coming up with an idea that I want to do so badly that even art block, that even like depression can't stop it. Or not even an idea that I want to do so badly. Like that's only like a couple of the ideas that's only like one of the ways that gets me out of art block that I found. Another way is just like accepting that something's not going to be as good. And that's a very, very hard thing for me to do, is just accept that something's just not going to come out how I expect it. And I think a lot of people can definitely relate to, like, to that feeling. It's just, like, I believe in my own hype, but I believe in it too much to the point that it's actively kind of detrimental to my work. And lately it's been kind of hard, but very necessary to just accept that I am not that good of an artist. A lot of my friends are better than me when it comes to just straight pen and paper or straight 3D modeling. And even when I try to compare myself to them and try to like lift myself up, sometimes I accidentally like hurt other people and other artists as I try to like criticize their work while trying to bump up mine in the process, even though I know like conceptually I have the right idea, but execution-wise, you are so much better because all of my artist friends, like they have put in all of the effort they need to get to their place, while I have not. And that's been a very, very hard thing to try to accept. That, yeah, just I know like all of my friends watch this because I send this all to them and they're all subscribed to me, which is very nice. And to those friends that like get this far in the video, you guys are so much better than me. If it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't be where I am. And I'm sorry if I've put down a lot of your work. A little too much in the past, and while I will never stop criticizing, as I believe criticism can only be a good thing, I won't stop, I'll stop trying to use it as a way to fucking as a way to try to cope with my own insecurities about my art and my skill and the way I use my time as a human being in this world. What the fuck? Why? What the fuck? How did this get so emotional? Fuck. Okay. Ah, God. If you can't tell, that was something that's just been on my chest for a while. Ooh. No! Oh, that was such a good run. Okay. Yeah, just... I need to improve as an art. I need it. The number one way to improve as an artist that I've been told by many other people from videos I've seen and just from what I myself believe in, one of the only ways to really improve as an artist is to improve as a person, so... doing those things that I said, like taking steps to like not do those things that I said I do. It's going to be a very hard thing, but it's necessary. And and yeah, it's just, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here! Face me like a man! Yeah, just. I don't really have much advice for people like going towards like art block right now, since my way of getting out of art block is like the exact opposite of how most other people get out of art block. Because how I do it is by just having a project, a big project to focus on, while a bunch of other people like can't even do that. Like need to have like something smaller, a smaller goal to work towards. And while I should probably also have smaller goals to work towards, a lot of my general attitude towards just like everything is just to like get big chunks of it done at a time. Like I don't like, because if I take things slowly, they're just not going to be done. Like that's just, slow is just not how I operate when it comes to when it comes to art and like various other projects. Ooh. Am I out of shotgun ammo? I'm out of shotgun ammo. Yeah, I'm gonna do the steps that I need to take to get myself out of art block, is just by thinking of something to do. And for other people, it's just deciding one day to say, fuck it, I'm just gonna draw a line on, the paper, see where it goes. I can't operate like that, so I'm not going to. And then there's going to be a Baron. This Baron is the kind of shit I want to make when it comes to 3D modeling. Just like this cool, kind of funky, abstract shit. That looks like very cool, but like very 80s, very like retro. And I've not been doing that aesthetic at all. And because of the sort of games that I've been working on, I've been pushing myself to do way more like realistic shit. But don't get me wrong, sometimes, I'm gonna stop myself there, sometimes realistic shit, it's fun to work on. God is a tedious. It is very tedious and very damaging, just like this Hell Knight right here. I might be dead. I might be dead. I don't think I could live. Oh no, I'm fine. I'm gonna go in with the handgun. Yeah, that was much better. I gotta remember there's the Berserk pack there that I can just get, that I can grab. Speaking about those projects, though, it's definitely going to be delayed, as both me and Rico are probably going to work on separate projects again, because of the sort of burnout that I've been going through. That's definitely been connected towards both Studio Rot and the project that me and them were going to do together, if everything goes through, if everything like works out how I want it to, and expect to see a little something from me. Honestly, I'll probably do like a devlog. That sounds really fun. I've never done like a devlog for something, but I know for a fact that I would love to do something like that for a project. So like after the series, so like in between the series or something, expect like a little devlog. Even if there's like not much for me to really show, I will probably document a lot of what my next project's going to be, even if it doesn't end up being completely finished or polished. Just because I know that the thing that I need is just, I need a project I can focus on that's not like my love child. Like that's what I need to be like sane. Quite honestly, after I record this video, if I don't just go right to bed after posting this, I'm probably going to start working on said project. How am I so low on ammo? What happened? I didn't even grab it! God damn it! I barely got crushed there. Honestly, I might just start concepting for that future project fucking right here in the recording. Because like, unlike a lot of my other projects where like I hide it from the public until it's practically already fucking done, I'm going to be very open about this next project. Because I think, like, again, with mentality, I think that's probably just what I'm going to need. Because like the last time I was like mentally open about like a project I was working on, I wasn't working on it. That if any of you guys like know me from like Game Jolt or anything with my release of my first game, Savannah Land, that's what happened with Cycle on my Game Jolt account. The game Cycle is basically dead because of that. Like I was very public that like everything I wanted to do for the game, and like I hints at ideas, but none of it actually ever contributed to work on the project. Because I was just too inexperienced. Like, out of like all the projects I've done and got burnt out on, Cycle's probably like the one like I give myself like the most amount of like leniency on when it comes to like being harsh on myself. It's just like Like, Cycle went dead in the water, not because, like, I specifically, like, went out of my way to, like, not try to work on it. It was purely because I was just very inexperienced with everything that I wanted to do, and had no idea where to even start with game dev. Like, even by then, I was still, like, experimenting with, like, ClickTeam, but I didn't know how to make... I was making a FNAF fan game, like, 5 years ago. But 5 years ago, I didn't even know how to make camera. I didn't even know how to make the most basic-ass camera system in ClickTeam. And that's, like, the easiest fucking thing to code when it comes to FNAF fan projects. Like, I didn't know how to do shit. That's why that project went under. I'm gonna use the chain gun because I can, and I'm gonna get a chain gun ammo here. Shit, never mind. There we go. 108. Alright. Good enough. Okay, Cycle was going to be like this huge ass game. And that's definitely another reason why I can't. It was because of my inexperience and inability to work on the project. And because of the scope of the project that I wanted to do. It wasn't anything, because it kept on changing. Like, the idea changed every time I wanted to think about the game. There's no solid way to explore, to, like, explain what Cycle was and was going to be, without just talking about the entire story of Cycle's quote-unquote development. And honestly, by the rate of how I'm going in these in this level, and still being stuck on it like I was the last video, I probably have enough time to just explain the entire story of Cycle's development and what story it was going to have throughout different periods and shit. Why not? I don't have all of the documents that I need to really explain it in front of me, but why not? I'll go through what I remember. Cycle, when it was first conceived, started out as a basic-ass FNAF Five Nights at Freddy's fan game with, animatronics called the Forgotten animatronics, which, at that point, I don't remember if that was, like, already used or not. I know Forgotten got used later, in like, later FNAF fan games. I can't remember exactly which ones, but I don't remember if at the time I was concepting Cycle nearly 5 years ago. God. If that term was used for them. Basically what the entire thing was, there's like a vent, there's like a vent mechanic, doors, cameras, yada 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 yada. There was really nothing interesting going on in the first version of Cycles, besides the lore, besides the lore that will be developed from that first version, later, and later on become like the whole point of me wanting to make cycles. I don't even remember what the story was going to be in that first version. That's how like little of one it had. Immediately into the next version. Oh, by the way, the first version was going to be modeled and partly coded by a good friend of mine. Fuck. Yuri is what they go by now. They did all the original models for me. From what I remember, I don't think Foxy was ever. I don't think the original Foxy was ever finished. And I don't think Freddy was either. Yeah, that original version didn't really get very far. There's still teasers of that original version up on the game page for it. If anybody's like at all interested in seeing it, I won't blame you if you're not. It really, like, not the Noah's model work, Yuri's model work was very good at the time, so I'm not going to bash that. But like the teasers themselves really weren't that interesting, and that I'm going to blame on me. Because like even though Noah modeled and edited all of them, fuck Yuri. Even though Yuri edited and modeled all of them, it was still me that like went for like a specific direction in mind, and because of me being not a very dumb teenager, I had no idea how to really set a fucking tone, so even though they look very cool, and the designs... Yuri's probably going to disagree with me on this one, but the designs still hold up. The designs do still hold up. It's the direction of the teasers that don't. I know for a fact that I'm only like one step away from finishing this level. Shit, I waited way too much. If I die here, I don't really care because I already have such low health that it won't really matter if I do, since then I just get to start over again, make less mistakes. Woo! On to the next version of Cycles, which I'm just going to continue on since I don't really remember my train of thought. Immediately there's a shit ton of expansions from the original idea, because the original idea was just a basic-ass FNAF fan game with like one interesting character that I'm going to go into more detail here, since he was greatly expanded upon in this version, in this concept of the game. And yeah, the original version wasn't that interesting. The second version is the version that all of the other ideas for the game and the concepts for the game are going to kind of like expand upon. So, Cycles 2, what I'm going as that's what I'm going to call it now to like make all of this explanation make a little more sense. Cycles 2 was going to be a free roam Five Nights at Freddy's fan game where you explored an abandoned Afton Robotics lab, which in this universe, Afton Robotics is less of a robotics company and more so just a straight up research, and more so just like a straight up like research facility. And how all of that was going, and the entire thing is that you were going through a facility filled with two groups of animatronics. The Forgotten, which basically same kind of thing as the Forgotten from the original concept, but kind of expanded to be more... They're Forgotten animatronics, but in this game they're more similar to the sister location animatronics, is that they were built with like greater purpose and a sort of precursor to what the heartfelt animatronics are, or in sister location's case, a precursor to what the twisted animatronics are going to be. As the heartfelt animatronics and the twisted animatronics are like are similar in design, but like kind of flipping of concepts. The heartfelt animatronics were actually organic fusions between human and animatronic in the most literal sense possible. They were human beings with titanium endoskeletons, with titanium battery-powered endoskeletons, with contorted faces made to look like animatronic mascots. And I still love that concept, if I'm being completely honest. While the lore, if I use that concept again, which actually no, I do plan on using that concept again. The heartfelt animatronics are a huge part of another game project that I want to work on called Sean's, which is part of this whole story thing that I want to do, which I'm definitely going to revitalize and definitely want to make like this new project part of that. It wasn't handled that, from what I remember, it wasn't really handled that well. Not that like it was a bad concept, it was just like the designs didn't really like expand on that too much, as the designs back then looked more like kind of bad fan-made nightmare animatronics rather than what I just described them as. Which is kind of a waste of an amazing fucking concept as a way to sort of like flip the script on like Five Nights at Freddy's character design. But again, that was the whole thing with me being a very, very inexperienced at the time I was making this. Get the fuck off of me. Okay. That goes back to the whole thing with me being like very inexperienced when working on those original on the original concept for Cycles. And basically the entire thing is that this sort of like led to that sort of like fusion between animatronic and human was the whole basis of Afton's research, and part of why he was able to turn into Springtrap later on was because of that knowledge, if I remember correctly. As Springtrap did still exist, though wasn't nearly as prominent as he was in base FNAF. Because the villain of Cycles, at least this newer version of Cycle, at least on Cycles 2, is a character called Red, which is an acronym for Recreational Edutainment Device. And God, this entire thing is like, I don't know whether to be like happy or embarrassed that I'm going to be talking about this concept for a villain. Because it's like, it's not wholly unique. It's not unique at all. But something about the way that I presented him in that original game, and the way that I'm going to present him in future projects, since I'm gonna make him return. He was very fun. Red is a AI that was programmed specifically for Afton type children's tablets, sort of like Kindles and shit. But he had gone rogue and started infecting everything within Afton Labs. That's where his AI was being hosted, and he gave himself a physical form and started weaponizing the heartfelt animatronics against everybody in the lab. And his original design, like describing that, you think his design would be something similar to like other AI characters, where he's like a walking like humanoid endoskeleton, or he's like some sort of like computer virus looking thing, if you know what I'm talking about. No. His original fucking design was this fucking xenomorph-esque alien that Yuri fucking 3D modeled up for me, and it with the concept I just told you, it's fucking stupid. But at the time, I was so fucking ecstatic to have that sort of design as the main villain for a game. And God, it was so stupid. But the design was actually really good. Again, nothing but praise from Yuri here. I'm sure they cringe at all this old stuff for Cycles 2 and a lot of their older projects, but dude, your shit is amazing. The original design for Red is so stupid, and it clashes so much with his concept. But God, I loved it. I loved every single bit about it. I was obsessed with Red as a character and as a concept. That's one thing I forgot last time. Berserk. Before I enter the last room, I need to remind myself. Before I grab the blue key, I'm gonna grab the Berserk back. That's what's gonna make me live. There's not really much else for this version of the game, except for the fact that the lab you're staying in also doubled as a sort of warehouse. So a lot of the aesthetic for that game was like my animatronic designs paired with like a factory of both like mainline series FNAF animatronics being stored away, plus a shit ton of references to other FNAF fan game projects that were being worked on at the time, all in this sort of like grungy, disgusting warehouse look. And I don't have them on my computer anymore, since I'm not even on the computer that a lot of the Cycles content was made on, and I'm on my laptop. I'm on a like a shit. I'm on like a pretty shitty laptop recording all of this, which is why my mic sounds terrible. Since even I can't have my computer only has 2 fucking USB slots, and while I could very easily plug in my microphone that I have right now really is not that much of a fucking improvement compared to my laptop. And also, like, 2 slots only means that I can have like my mouse plus one other thing plugged in at a time. And right now I have my fight stick plugged in. Sort of just all the time, since it's nice to have it plugged in whenever I want to play fighting games and never have to really, like, mess with it all that much. I should probably start using my microphone again, but like I said, it's pretty old and honestly kind of shitty, so it won't be that much of an improvement over what I'm using. If anything, it'll be just if anything, it'll seriously just be more of a hassle to use if I was just using my laptop microphone. Back to Cycles, because that's what I was originally talking about. Yeah, the entire aesthetic was going to be like this grungy warehouse kind of thing, blah blah blah. Um, and then like out of nowhere, no, not really out of nowhere. It was like 3 years after the project was originally fucking made. I wanted to do like a reboot of it. So like I started like coming up with a shit ton of new concepts. I did like a shit ton of like redesigns, remodels for a lot of the stuff. I got Noah to do a new model for me for a character called, the fuck was it? Fred Bonnie, which sounds really fucking weird out of context, but Fred Bonnie is essentially a heartfelt animatronic that was 2 separate heartfelt animatronics, a heartfelt Spring Bonnie and a heartfelt Fredbear. But at some point in the process they fused, and it's really weird concept, and like really weird name. But again, because these are models Yuri made, they are really fucking good designs. Yeah, that was I had them do another model for that, do a new model for that character. I redid Forgotten Freddy. I did a brand new Fredbear character, since this version was going to be a lot more about Fredbears than the lab itself. This is like one of the most recent versions of Cycle, besides like what I've like rebooted for like a new like sort of FNAF based story that I want to tell. But yeah, despite this being the most recent version of Cycles, it's the one I remember the least, so I can't really have much to talk about it. They will sort of like talk about like the experience of coming up with ideas for Cycle and like the little bit that was developed. Is that it was, even though I barely did any actual like full-on work for the project, it was still a very fun thing to work on, and it got me to like try it got me more into 3D modeling. Like I said, like my whole thing is that like I need like a big project, something to really like latch onto for me to really have like motivation to really do anything. And Cycles was that. Cycles practically got me to where I am in my 3D modeling skills, which is something that I'm honestly very grateful for. Even though earlier in this episode I was sort of roasting myself. Alright, we're just gonna take these both on. Sweet. But yeah, it got me to where I am with 3D modeling. It got me to try coding. That was the whole FNAF fan games, and then Cycles was my whole motivation for learning how to code. And even though I barely did anything for it, it got me into the world of coding. So like, even though it's definitely like my weakest part when it comes to like my sort of creative skills, that's something that I'm also grateful for it for. Is just it got me it got me to code. It did get me to code technically. But yeah, there's a reason why that project got canned. It was just too ambitious, and then when it wasn't too ambitious, it wasn't really that fun to work on. And that's sort of the whole thing with the creative process, that you have to find that balance of like ambition. You have to find that right balance of like ambition and challenge, while also making sure to like not overwork yourself, which is a very hard balance to find sometimes, as especially if you're young like I am. Like I know like a lot of young people, like I say young people like I'm not like only fucking 17, but in this sort of discussion, I know like young people like are very overambitious about like projects, about like what they want to do in life and shit. And so do I, because I'm a young person. So like if there's nothing like early on in life to really like make you like try to like work hard but also like work smart, it's very hard to like break that mindset of like over-ambition and, like, what you can or can't do. What you can do and what you can do to challenge yourself, and what you just can't do, regardless. Because you just... There's challenging yourself, and then there's just putting yourself through hell because you just don't have enough experience yet. That... I could have just said that the entire time rather than trying to do, like, the whole roundabout thing, but it's very hard to talk. This is, like, one of the few times in the day where I actually get to talk openly like this. And while that sounds bad, it sounds like I'm not really doing that much, which I'm not. Even when I'm out in public, I barely talk because... Because this is gonna sound strange to, like, people who know me, or, like, with how talkative I am on doing the series. I find it very hard to even say, like, anything past hello to most people. It takes a lot of energy for me to even conceptualize saying a full sentence to someone that I don't know. And once I do know someone, it's very easy for me to talk, as I think everyone that knows me knows. If you get me in, like, a room one-on-one, or, like, one with, like, maybe 3 people in the room max, I am, like, the most fucking talkative person you'll know. I will talk your ear off about anything that's on my mind, regardless of even if that thought even makes coherent sense. But in public, I am not even really in public, just, like, in general, when I'm not around, like, my bestest of friends. I am very careful about what I say and what I even have the energy to say, quite honestly. Woo! 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 I didn't mean for this episode to become, like, a huge, like, dump of my current mental state. And I'm sorry if you came here expecting, like, a fun, chill time. Like, fun, chill Doom commentary. But I'm... Like, even though I could just make the choice to just, like, not post this, because it's, like, a lot of, like, personal stuff that I'm going through, I'm gonna post it anyways, because I feel like this is something that I definitely need out there for people, and my friends to see. Because... I sound horribly depressed, but I'm not. I'm having fun. This is very fun to record and do. Even if I almost teared up fucking talking about, like, my mental stuff earlier. Trust me, I am okay. The more I play this level, the more I hate Hell Knights. They're usually like one of my favorite Doom enemies to like fight. But in this, they're fucking assholes. At least early game. I know they're not going to be that as bad when I get to the Hell levels. Oh, but the Hell levels are just going to be replaced with Barons. Oh god. That's going to be even worse. Oh, hey, thanks. Ow. Ah, fuck, I forgot. There's like a Hell Knight in every fucking room in this level, in this maze. There we go. There we go. I just realized content-wise, this is going to be like a very similar episode to the last episode. Because I'm still stuck on the same level. And probably will be. Honestly, if I don't complete the level this episode, I'm going to just skip it. And next episode, we're going to do the next couple levels. Because like if I can't beat it this episode, I know I'm just going to be stuck on it for most of the other episodes, so there's no point in really like there's no point in making a third episode about the same fucking fuck. There's no point in making another episode about the same fucking level if I don't need to. I am completely out of ammo. Yeah, I kind of deserve that. I ran out of ammo completely. Okay. Fuck. Honestly, I know how this level ends, and like, while like, I usually, most of the time, like, I'll be a good sport and like, try to play through the level. It has been nothing but endless deaths for this, so I think I'm just going to skip to level 6. Because quite honestly, this is sort of getting on my nerves. Even if I'm having a good time, like, I'm having a good time talking, not having a good time playing. Another thing is that, back to a different topic, I guess. Because I'm, like, switching topics a lot. There we go. Oh, fuck. Oh, this level... Is this level that bad? I honestly don't remember. Hi, Baron. Oh, that's a Baron and a Hell Knight. Blue key. That's a starting room. That's a Kako. That's a Kako. Thank you, Kako, for dying. Did not need that fucking shock. Oh my god, shotgun ammo for days, but shotgun ammo, but no fucking health. Oh yeah, and there's going to be a reboot. Not really of Cycles the game, but more so of Cycles plot. And the entire plan and the entire story revolved not around Red and like the story of the animatronics, but rather two new characters. One is unnamed because I just haven't gotten around to naming him yet. But he's basically, I'm just gonna call him the investigator since that's his role in the story. He's a private investigator who you don't play as, but you follow the story of and work with the private investigator throughout the entire plot of Cycles. And basically, the two characters that are revolved around were the investigator and another character called Lady Love, which is basically a prototype Lady Love was a prototype heartfelt animatronic. So she's like very similar in the fact that she's a sort of fusion between human and animatronic. But she was much simpler because instead of like wanting like to fuse and get like an organic body, but like a mechanical skeleton and like a controllable AI. In Lady Love's case, she's just a human mind that has been successfully transported into a animatronic body instead of being like an organic body. But because of the sort of treatment and originally, being a fucking adult person, she didn't really like the treatment, so she killed a bunch of people in the lab, escaped from the lab, and fucking is now running around through the entirety of the U.S. trying to what the fuck? A shotgunner in the back. What the fuck? She's now going throughout the entirety of the U.S. trying to recruit animatronics using the same method that she was transferred to the animatronic body with, which is very similar to how it works in normal FNAF. So it's sort of like you just take a corpse or part of the corpse and put it in an animatronic, bam, haunted. Then try to get a group of animatronics together under her control to help take down that lab, burn down that lab for good. And the private investigator wants to. The private investigator and Lady Love do share one thing in common, despite the fact that they're essentially hero and villain. Is that the private investigator and Lady Love want to absolutely destroy William Afton. While the investigator wants to kill him, or he's going to take him down through legal means. Like take him to court and arrest and shit. Lady Love just wants to actually fucking kill him. And burn everything down while the investigator wants to get William Afton tried and seize his lab for documentation purposes. So they've very similar motivations, but very different goals. Which I think is a very interesting kind of like character dynamic. That when I do get to working on the general story again, I can't wait to like fully write and go in depth on, because genuinely that sort of concept I do genuinely love that concept a lot. But yeah, Lady Love stops at a couple locations, and all the locations she stops at are games that you would play, are games that you would actually be able to play. With the first one, the project that I mentioned in the beginning of this, Studio Rot. Studio Rot takes place in an abandoned film studio where they recorded the live-action Fredbear and Friends TV show. So everything's like all like vintage recording equipment in like a rundown warehouse looking building, and is very cool looking, and the animatronics are like all wooden and shit. I don't really know how better to describe it other than just like saying that, but it's cool shit. It's cool shit and fun shit that I like. That's the best way I can explain it. But yeah, she's able to possess and recruit all of the main animatronics that were used in the recording for the show, except for Fredbear himself. And basically the entire thing is that you play as the private investigator's son, who's on a trip with his grandparents to his grandparents' house. Who, on his trip, gets to explore the abandoned film studio for funsies. This little thing that his grandparents allow them to do, as they're much more chill than other grandparents, apparently. Love them as grandparents. Just let me explore fucking abandoned buildings near the neighborhood. Fuck. How do I get rid of you? Wait, you're open? Do you... Oh, okay. I know this thing can break when you, like, try to, like, go through multiple at a time, so... Yeah, Studio Rot's entire concept was that, and it was going to be very fun, very cool, but like I said earlier, I got demotivated doing the character design because I couldn't do what I wanted, because I wasn't experienced enough with certain bits of modeling. So it's essentially canned for now, and while it'll probably no longer be the first game in the story, it's definitely going to be like a project that I would want to work on again when I get better at certain aspects of character design. It's basically the entire, like, if that's basically like the whole thing with Studio Rot and me getting back to work on it. If I just get better at 3D modeling, like realistic looking clothing, and then like, bam, the game's live. I'm working on the game again. No questions asked. That was the only reason why it stopped. And why I got burnt out. And like, that sounds very stupid, but like, genuinely, like, not being able to do the clothing was so demotivating. Like, more demotivating than you would think it would be. The next game in the story was going to be a game I was going to develop first before Studio Rot, but decided to come up with the idea for Studio Rot, and develop that first due to plot reasons, because High Up was not a very good game to really explain the whole story of what I wanted, since it introduced important animatronics that are definitely going to come up later, but those animatronics were so far separated from all the other animatronics in the fucking universe that it made no sense to have that be the first game for you to just not see them until like the final game in the story. Ooh. But High Up was going to take place in a warehouse, in an abandoned sister location style warehouse that was being fully renovated into into like a normal pizzeria location. And you were a technician that was hired to help fix a lot of the issues that were going on in the place. Doing night shifts because FNAF. And basically, during the night, you would get fucking attacked by a 20-foot tall Bonnie animatronic, and you would be forced to do tasks for him, like taking apart his body so he could be transported to location with the other animatronics in the facility. Repair his friends, and while all of his friends are actively trying to fucking kill you. How the fuck? Okay. It lowers after I press the switch. Send his friends to kill you after, even while you're fucking repairing them. And you're doing all the tasks for this version of Twisted Bonnie, all the while you have to do your normal fucking scheduled technician work on the vents and on the light setups and shit. It's like it was gonna be like very stressful gameplay wise, but like a very fun sort of gameplay. And it was going to be like very, very challenging, but fun. And it not really much else happened story wise besides like Bonnie like escaping into the fucking world, and you finding out that they're actually that they are servants of Lady Love. Rockets? I hate this. That does not open these doors. I know for a fact that one shot from this guy's gonna fucking kill me. There's a pain elemental in here. I forgot. Oh god. I think I'm gonna end it here, but I want to finish my thoughts about High Up and all that. High Up was basically going to be sort of this midway point for the story, and it was going to be very something like very fun and much more involved, like gameplay wise, I could work on. Because like at the time, and still now currently as I'm posting this video, the only game that I've ever made that I've successfully posted and published is Savannahland, which is a very easy, not very, kind of boring, FNAF fan game with like 2 fucking mechanics and 1 that doesn't even matter. Well, okay, 3 mechanics with 1 that doesn't matter. That's a better way to put it. So like High Up was something to get me more involved with like designing direct gameplay, but of course it quickly got sort of shelved for later by Studio Rot, which is also going to have some very fun gameplay with like record with like using like microphones on set to record audio, playing back audio to lure away certain animatronics, and a fire alarm to scare off animatronics. Cameras being styled after like all the cameras looking like you're recording off of like a very fucking damaged like 80s film recorder, which is going to be a very fun thing to work on. Ha 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 ha. The fuck? Okay. High Up was going to be much more styled after Sister Location, obviously, because I described it by being like a Sister Location-esque place. The other games I might not go into much detail because they're games that I still want to work on and stories that I still want to tell. But the other game was going to be Sean's, which I briefly mentioned before, that basically sprung up this whole reboot, this whole like FNAF fan game thing that I want to do, essentially being like a fucking reboot of my idea for Cycles, but instead of it being contained in one game, it's I play Doom and I can't get up. Fucking Christ, of course. There's like these little death messages. I never knew about this. Because like I every single Doom game I play, I always like fucking instant respawn. It's so cute. Yeah, Sean's is a game that I still want to work on, so I won't talk about it much. Unless I decide to do a Devlog series, then obviously I'm going to talk about it a lot, but right now I'm going to be a little hush-hush about it. Savannahland 2 sequel is going to come out. I'm just not going to work on it right now because I can't find the motivation to. Which is sad because me and Rico just fucking made the concept, and all the gameplay for it is just the character design is very ha 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 ha. Sorry, The character design is just something that's very bogging me down, and I can't do, so we're gonna work on something simple. Um, and there's going, and oh, also, before Savannah Land 2 was going to be ever going to be made, there's actually going to be a concept for a Savannah Land 1 remake that was going to be included with this whole story with Lady Love and the Investigator. That still might happen, but it's not going to be a remake, but instead probably just going to be Savannah Land 3. That just so happens to tie into everything else. But yeah. Uh I think that's all I just wanted to talk about today. That was a shit ton of stuff. That got way more emotional and personal than I think than I definitely expected it to be. So, like, yeah. Uh, Thank you for tuning into this. Thank you for listening about my ramblings about my mental health and my projects and my passions. And to a nice backdrop of me absolutely failing at Doom 64. uh, yeah. See you guys in the next episode.